Union Public Service Commission, Deputy Central Intelligence Officer, DCIO Technical, 2024 question paper solutions part 4 from question number 91 to question number 120. Question number 91. Consider the following statements. Here two statements are given. Statement 1. If impulse response of LTI system h of t is periodic and non-zero, the system is unstable. Statement 1 is correct. For an LTI system to be Bibo-stable, the impulse response h of t must be absolutely integral. If h of t is periodic and non-zero, the magnitude repeats over the time, so integral becomes infinity, hence the system is unstable. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, the inverse of causal LTI system is always causal. So it is not always causal. Let us see the definition of causal system. A causal system or a physical system or non-anticipative system, it is a system where the output depends on past and current inputs but not on the future inputs. For non-causal system, output depends on the for a non-causal system, output depends on future inputs. Non-causal or anticipative systems. So let us see example for statement 2. Inverse of causal LTI system may be causal or non-causal. So consider a causal LTI system y of t is equal to x of t minus t naught. Here x is input, y is the output. Now we need to inverse it. That means y become the input, x will become the output. So in this case, the output depends on future inputs. Hence it is a non-causal system. Here statement 1 is correct. Statement 2 is wrong. Correct answer is option 1. Next question. Consider the following statements. A periodic function possesses a quarter wave symmetry if it has either odd or even symmetry if it has half wave symmetry. Which of the above statements is or correct? So let us see the definition of quarter wave symmetry. A quarter wave symmetry is a property of periodic waveforms that have both half wave symmetry and either even or odd symmetry. This means one quarter of a waveform can be used to define the entire waveform. So quarter wave symmetry is either even symmetry or odd symmetry plus half wave symmetry. Here both statements are correct. It has either even symmetry or odd symmetry and it is a half wave symmetry. Correct answer is option C. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding Gibbs phenomenon. Statement 1. The Gibbs phenomenon is present only when there is a jump discontinuity. Statement 1 is correct. Gibbs phenomenon occurs near the points of discontinuity when a signal is represented by finite number of terms in its Fourier series. This Gibbs phenomenon is persistent overshoot and undershoot. It is persistent overshoot and undershoot or persistent ringing that occurs in a truncated Fourier series approximation of a function with jump discontinuity. Statement 2. The Gibbs phenomenon occurs near the points of discontinuity of a periodic signal x of t if it is approximated by a Fourier series in which only finite number of terms are kept. Statement 2 is also correct. So Gibbs phenomenon arises because only finite number of Fourier terms under and this causes oscillations near discontinuities. Both statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. Question number 94. Consider the following statements. If we imagine a system whose input is horizontal acceleration applied to a ball and whose output is ball's vertical position, then the system is unstable. So here input is applied to a horizontal acceleration. Input is a horizontal acceleration and the output is ball's vertical position. Here input and output are not dynamically related, hence it is an unrelated system. Unstable system. Statement 2. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2. The system is causal if the output at any time depends only on the values of the input at the present time and in the past. Such systems are often referred to as non-anticipative systems. So we know the definition of causal system. A causal system, which is a physical or non-anticipative system where output depends on past and current inputs but not on the future inputs. For non-causal system, output depends on the future inputs. A system is causal or non-anticipative if it does not depends on future input values. So statement 2 is correct. Both statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. Question number 95. Consider the following statements regarding Dirichlet conditions. Statement 1. X of t have a finite number of maxima and finite number of minima within an infinite interval. Statement 1 is incorrect. X of t have finite number of maxima and finite number of minima within the finite interval. Statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2. X of t have finite number of discontinuities within infinite interval. Statement 2 is also incorrect. So let us see Dirichlet conditions. A periodic signal x of t has Fourier series if it satisfies the following conditions. That is, x of t is absolutely integrable. X of t have finite number of maxima and finite number of minima over a single time period. X of t has finite number of discontinuities over any period. Correct answer is option D. Both statements are incorrect. Question number 96. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. The Laplace transform can be defined for signals that tends to infinity as long as integral converges for some value of complex variable s. Statement 1 is correct. So Laplace transform of a signal x of t is given as x of s is equal to integral minus infinity to infinity x of t e power minus st. And it is defined, Laplace transform is defined as long as integral converges for some values of the complex variable s. So even if x of t does not tends to 0, the exponential term e power minus sigma t still make the integral to converge for sigma greater than 0. Hence, Laplace transform exists if integral converges for some value of s. Statement 2. Fourier transform of a signal is simply equal to its Laplace transform evaluated on j omega axis provided that it is included in the region of convergence. Statement 2 is also correct. The Fourier transform is a special case of Laplace transform, and this is valid only if j omega axis lie within the ROC of Laplace transform. Both statements are correct. Correct answer is option C. Question number 97. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. The 2 out of 5 code is an error detection code having exactly 3 bits equal to 1 and 2 bits equal to 0 in each code word, and its representatives of m out of n codes. Statement 1 is incorrect. A 2 out of 5 code is a binary coding system where each decimal digit is represented by a 5-bit sequence that has exactly 2 bits set to 1 and 3 bits set to 0. In the question they have given 3 bits equal to 1 and 2 bits equal to 0. This is incorrect. This 2 out of 5 code creates a constant weight code that is useful for error detection because any valid sequence must have exactly 2 ones. Statement 2. Hamming codes may be viewed as an extension of simple parity codes in that multiple parity or check bits are employed. Statement 2 is correct. Hamming code is designed to detect and correct single bit errors that may occur during the transmission of data. Hamming codes are the family of linear error correcting codes. Hamming codes are an extension of simple parity codes because they use multiple check bits instead of just one to detect and correct single bit errors. Only statement 2 is correct. Correct answer is option B. Question number 98. The simplified form of Boolean function f of wxyz is equal to wy bar plus wx bar y plus wxyz plus wxz bar is. So the correct answer is option C. Option B. The equivalent for the given Boolean expression is w. So here is the solution part is given. Go through it. Question number 99. The equivalent canonical POS form of Boolean function f of abcd is equal to a plus c bar is. So we know that in Boolean algebra, p plus xy can be written as p plus x into p plus y. P dot p can be written as p. X plus x bar is 1. Now the given function a into a plus c bar. So multiply this a dot c bar. A dot a is a only, a plus c bar. So take a as common, a into 1 plus c bar, that is a. So there is a single variable. Here two variables are missing, two literals are missing. B plus b bar, c plus c bar. The value of b plus b bar, c plus c bar is 1. So that is a dot 1 dot 1. Here 1 can be replaced as c plus c bar and this one can be replaced as b plus c bar. So expand this, we will get sigma m small m of 4, 5, 6, 7. These are the min terms. SOP expression. So this is standard SOP expression and corresponding POS is pi capital M of 0, 1, 2, 3. So the correct answer is B, pi capital M of 0, 1, 2, 3. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 100. The number of flip-flops required to design a twisted ring counter having 10 unique states are. This twisted ring counter, also known as Johnson counter with n flip-flops, has 2n states. It is having 2n states. So here there are 10 states are given. Total number of states is 10, which is equivalent to 2n. So the number of flip-flops n is equal to 5. So total number of states for ring counter is 2 power n and the number of used states are 2n. Total number of unused states are 2 power n minus 2n. So here the correct answer is the number of flip-flops required to design a twisted ring counter or a Johnson counter having 10 states are 5. Correct answer is option C. Next question. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. In a Mealy model sequential circuit, the outputs are the functions of input and present state. So statement 1 is correct. In Mealy machine, the output depends both on the present state and present input. Whereas in case of Moore machine, the output depends only on the present state but not on the present input. Statement 2. The Mealy model is called a transition assigned circuit because the circuit output is associated with the state transition, that is the arc in the state diagram. Statement 2 is also correct. The output of Mealy machine change asynchronously with the enabling clock edge. Output change synchronously with the enable clock edge in case of Moore machine. In case of Moore machine, the change is synchronous. In case of Mealy machine, the change is asynchronous. Statement 2 is also correct. This melee machine has fewer state, whereas more machine has more number of states. The value of output function is a function of transitions and the changes and it changes when input logic on the present state is done. Statement 2 is also correct. Correct answer is option C. Both 1 and 2 are correct. Question number 102. For implementing a function f is f of pqrs is sigma small m of 0, 1, 3, 4, 8, 9, 15 using 8 is to 1 mux multiplexer having input terminals D0 to D7 and the input D1 and D4 of multiplexer are respectively. So implementation of four variable boolean function with the help of 8 is to 1 multiplexer. So here the procedure is list all of the minterms in two rows. All the minterms in two rows. The first row list all those minterms where A is complemented. In the second row list all the minterms where A is uncomplemented. This is step 1. In step 2, minterms given in the function are encircled and each column is inspected separately as follows. So that is, if both minterms are not circled, we will mark 0. If both are circled, it can be treated as 1. 1 is applied to the corresponding multiplexer input. If minterm in the second row is circled and the minterm in the first row is not circled, then A is applied to the corresponding multiplexer input. If minterm in the first row is circled and minterm in the second row is not circled, then A bar is applied to the corresponding multiplexer input. So here the given minterms are 0, 1. The given minterms are 0, 1, 3, 4, 8, 9 and 15. In this first column, both minterms are circled. The corresponding multiplexer input is 1. In second column, both both inputs are circled. The corresponding multiplexer input is 1. In third column, both are not encircled. Corresponding mux input is 0. In fourth column, A bar is applied to the corresponding multiplexer input because column 1 is circled. Similarly, next column. So here both are not circled, 0 is applied. Here both are not circled, 0 is applied. Here 1 is applied to the corresponding multiplexer input in the last column because the minterm in the second row is circled and the minterm in the first row is not circled. In the question, they have asked what is the input at D1 and D4. For D1, input is 1 and for D4 input is A bar. So 1 and A bar correspondingly. The correct answer is option D. Next question. The input equation for the conversion of T flip-flop to D flip-flop, that is T is D XOR of Qn. So for converting T flip-flop to D flip-flop, we need to use XOR gate at the input of the flip-flop. Correct answer is option A. Similarly, for converting D flip-flop to T flip-flop, use an XOR gate. Let us see some more conversions. So this is a conversion of SR flip-flop to D flip-flop. Conversion of JK flip-flop to T flip-flop. Both inputs are tied together. In JK flip-flop, if J input and K input are tied together, then it will be worked as a T flip-flop. This is a conversion of SR flip-flop to JK flip-flop and JK flip-flop to D flip-flop. For converting JK flip-flop to D flip-flop, both inputs are complemented. So as per the question, the correct answer is option A. Question number 104. A binary 5-bit binary counter starts in 00000 state, the count after 144 input pulses. So in the question they have given 5-bit binary counter. The count starts from 5 zeros to triple one, 5 ones. That is from 0 to 31. After reaching 31 state, it resets to 0 again. In the question they have given the total number of pulses is 144. Total number of input clock pulses is 144. So 144 divided by 32 is 4 and the remainder is 16. After 4 cycles, the counter count is 16. That is 10000 base 2 or 16 base 10. Correct answer is option C. Question number 105. Consider the following statements regarding the motion of charge particle in the magnetic field. Motion of a charge particle in magnetic field. Statement 1. A particle whose initial velocity has no component normal to uniform magnetic field will continue to move with constant speed along the line of flux. Statement 1 is correct. So let us see the theory related to this. A particle whose initial velocity has no component normal to uniform magnetic field will continue to move with constant speed along the line of flux. So force F is equal to Q into V bar cross B bar. If velocity V bar is parallel to magnetic field B bar, then this curl of velocity into magnetic field is 0. The curl becomes 0. So if curl is 0, the net force F is also 0. So no force acts on the particle. Therefore, hence it moves in a straight line with constant speed along the feed lines because the force is 0. A magnetic force is proportional to the cross product of velocity and magnetic field. When velocity is parallel to magnetic field, when the velocity is parallel to magnetic field, the angle between them is 0 degree, making the cross product and thus the magnetic force equal to 0. As there is no force, the particle continues to move in a straight line with constant speed according to the Newton's first law of motion. So statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, the period and angular velocity are independent of speed or radius. Statement 2 is also correct. Let us see statement 2. For a circular motion of a charged particle in a magnetic field, QVB is equal to mv square by r. QVB is equal to mv square by r. So from this, r radius is mv square by qb. Angular velocity is given as w is equal to v by r, velocity by radius. So from this, qb by m. Here angular velocity is independent of speed. Angular velocity is independent of speed and angular velocity is independent of radius. Next, time period. So time period is given as 2 pi by omega. So from this, omega is 2 pi by qb by m, that is 2 pi m by qb. Therefore, angular velocity and time period are independent of velocity and radius, speed and radius. Statement 2 is also correct. Correct answer is option C. Both statements are correct. Next question. Consider the following statements and we need to identify the correct statement. Statement 1. If a specimen, metal or semiconductor carrying a current I is placed in a transverse magnetic field B, the electric field E is induced in the direction of I and perpendicular to B. This phenomenon is called Hall effect. Statement 1 is incorrect because Hall effect in a semiconductor occurs when a current carrying conductor, when a current carrying material is placed in a magnetic field perpendicular to current and electric field is induced in the perpendicular to both current and the magnetic field. Here in the question, the current I is in a current carrying conductor I is placed in a transverse magnetic field, the electric field induced in the direction of I. It is not in the direction of I, it is perpendicular to the direction of current as well as perpendicular to magnetic field. Statement 2. Hall effect can be used to determine whether the semiconductor is N-type or P-type semiconductor and also to find the carrier concentration. Statement 2 is correct. Hall effect is used for determining the type of charge carriers, whether N-type or P-type, and for measuring the carrier concentration as well as for mobility. Statement 2 is correct. Correct answer is option B. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding tunnel diodes. Statement 1. A tunnel diode exhibits positive resistance characteristic between peak current and minimum value IV called valley current. So this tunnel diode exhibits negative resistance characteristics. So statement 1 is incorrect. So tunnel diodes are semiconductor devices characterized by their unique negative resistance region, a narrow depletion layer due to heavy doping and fast switching speeds. Negative resistance, narrow depletion layer due to heavy doping and fast switching speeds. They operate based on quantum mechanical tunneling effect and are used in high frequency applications like oscillators and amplifiers. The tunnel diode characteristics include low power consumption, low noise, resistance to radiation, though they have limitations like a low output voltage swing. So the disadvantage is very low output voltage swing. These are the characteristics of tunnel diode. It is negative resistance region. Statement 2. Tunneling. Since tunneling takes place at high speed of light, the transient response is limited only by total shunt capacitance, that is junction plus stray wiring capacitance and peak driving current. Statement 2 is correct. Correct answer is option 2. Next question. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. A Schottky diode is one of the diodes which have zero diffusion capacitance and smaller transition capacitance than normal PN junction diodes. Statement 1 is correct. Schottky diode is a type of diode formed by a junction between metal and the semiconductor which creates lower forward voltage drop and faster switching speed compared to traditional PN junction diode. There is no charge stored in the depletion region, hence no diffusion capacitance. It also has very small transition or junction capacitance, giving it a very fast switching speed compared to normal diodes. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2. A Schottky diode is normally constructed by metal and N-type semiconductor in which the work function of metal is smaller than the semiconductor. Statement 2 is incorrect. A Schottky diode formed between metal and N-type semiconductor, the work function is greater for a metal. A Schottky junction formed when metal work function is greater than semiconductor N-type semiconductor work function, or a Schottky diode is formed when metal work function is smaller than p-type semiconductor work function. Statement 2 is incorrect. Statement 1 is correct. The correct answer is option 1. Question number 109. The work function of nickel is. So work function is the minimum energy required to remove an electron from the surface of a metal. So for nickel, it is typically 5.01 electron volts. Correct answer is option D. Next question. Consider the following statements. The electron affinity of the semiconductor, which is the energy required to remove an electron from the bottom of conduction band to vacuum level. So let us see definition. Electron affinity of a semiconductor is energy required to move an electron from the bottom of conduction band to vacuum level outside the material. So this electron affinity quantifies how tightly electrons are bound to a semiconductor with a high value of electron affinity indicates electrons are held more loosely and lower value indicates the electrons are held very tightly. And this property is crucial in determining how a semiconductor will interact with the other materials, particularly in forming junctions like Schottky and ohmic contacts. So metal semiconductor contacts. This electron affinity for silicon is approximately 4.05 electron volts for bulk silicon crystalline silicon, defined as energy required to remove an electron from the bottom of conduction band to the vacuum level. Statement 2 is also correct. Electron affinity of silicon is 4.01 electron volts. Correct. And statement 1 is also correct. The energy required to remove an electron from the bottom of conduction band to the vacuum level. Both statements are correct and the correct answer is option C. Next question. Question number triple one. A parameter H21 is referred as. So this question is related to hybrid parameters. So hybrid parameters can be written as V1 is equal to H11 I1 plus H12 V2. I2 is equal to H21 I1 plus H22 V2. Here V1 and I1 are input port voltage and current respectively. V2 and I2 are output port voltage and current respectively. In matrix form, it can be written as V1 I2 is equal to H11 H12 H21 H22 into I1 V2. So here H11 is input impedance input impedance with port 2 short circuited. H12 is reverse voltage gain with input port open circuited. H21 is short circuit forward current gain. So that is forward current gain with output short circuited. V2 is 0. Similarly, H22 is output admittance with input open circuited. Ratio of current to voltage at the output side, keeping open circuiting the input port, I1 is equal to 0. Therefore, the correct answer is option C. Next question. Consider the following statements. Statement 1. The current gain and input impedance in CE transistor configuration is usually higher than that of CB transistor configuration. So statement 1 is correct. Here the comparison between CE and CB. The current gain is higher in CE configuration and the input impedance is very high in CE configuration when compared to CB. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 2, the output impedance in CC configuration is higher than that of CE configuration. It is incorrect. So it is lower. The output impedance in CC configuration is low when compared to CE configuration. Only statement 1 is correct. The correct answer is option A. Next question. What is the relationship between first two words? Choose the word from the given alternatives which gives the same relationship to the third word. So here first two words are water convection. So in water, heat transfer takes place mainly by convection, movement of fluid particles. So the convection is movement of fluid particles. So three different modes of transfer is conduction, which requires matter, that is solids; convection requires fluids, liquids and gases; and radiation without any medium, even in free space. So for space, it is radiation. The correct answer is water convection. on space radiation. Correct answer option D. Next question. Pointing to a woman, a girl said, "She is the daughter in law of the grandmother of my father's only son." How is the woman related to the girl? So, here step 1 is my father's only son. The speaker is a girl. So, her father's only son is her brother. My father's only son is her brother. Step 2, grandmother of my brother. The brother and girl have same grandmother. So grandmother of my brother is her grandmother. Step 3, she is the daughter-in-law of my grandmother. The daughter-in-law of your grandmother can be the wife of your grandmother's son. Your grandmother's son is the girl's grandmother's son is either father or uncle. So the woman could be mother. Correct answer is option B. Question number 116. Five friends Arun, Bhaskar, Chandu, Devender, and Elangavan are sitting on the bench. Arun is sitting next to the Bhaskar and Chandu is sitting next to the Devender. Devender is not sitting with Elangovan. Elangovan is on the left end of the bench. Chandu is at the second position from the right. Arun is on the right side of the Bhaskar and to the right side of the Elangovan. Arun and Chandu are sitting together. What is the position of Devender? These are the different conditions are given. Total there are five friends. Let us treat Arun as A, Bhaskar as B, Chandu as C, Devender as D, and Elangovan as E. These are the conditions given. Arun is sitting next to Bhaskar. So Chandu is sitting next to the Devender. Devender is not sitting with the Elangwan. Elangwan is on the left end of the bench. So take this as step 1. So left end of the bench is E. So that is Elangwan. Next statement is Chandu is at the second position from the right. So here it is Chandu position. Next step 3, Arun and Chandu are sitting together. So here Arun and Chandu are sitting together. That means his position can be either position 5, or position 3. Next, Arun is on the right side of the Bhaskar and right side of the Elangwan. So right side of the Bhaskar and right side of the Elangwan. So right side of the Bhaskar is here. So his position is in 3 but not in 5. Now Chandu is sitting next to the Devender. So Chandu is sitting next to the Devender. Now the position of Devender is extreme right. The correct answer is option C. Question number 117. Prakash started walking towards east. After moving a distance of 1 kilometer, he turned southward and walked to 9 kilometers. Again, he turned to east and walked 2 kilometers. Finally, he turned to north and walked 13 kilometers. How far he is sitting from the starting point? So these are the directions: north, south, east, and north, south, east, and west. So initial position is I. Now he walked 1 kilometer towards east. After walking 1 kilometer, he turned southward and walked 9 kilometers, and then he walked 2 kilometers towards the east, and finally he walked 13 kilometers towards north. This is a movement of 13 kilometers towards north. Now we need to identify the position from initial point to the final point. So on calculation, its value should be apply simple Pythagoras theorem. Its value is 5 kilometer. Correct answer is option C. Question number 118. According to the certain code, delta is represented as greater than, theta is represented as less than, omega is represented as equal to, and small delta is represented as not equal to. These are the four different codes for the greater than, less than, equal to, and not equal to. Now the question is, if a small delta c, that is a not equal to c, and c theta b, c theta b means c less than b, and b omega a, that is b is equal to a, b is equal to a. So here a is not equal to c, c less than b, and b is equal to a, that means c less than a, that is a greater than c. A greater than c is a delta c. Correct answer D. Next question. A batting average of 50 innings of a cricket player is 60 runs. His highest score exceeds his lowest score by 160 runs. If two innings are excluded, the average of the remaining 48 innings is 58 runs. The highest score of the player is. So first, batting average of 50 innings is 60. So that is total runs is 50 into 60. It will be 3000. This is step 1. Next, average for the 48 innings is 58 runs. Average of 48 innings is 58 runs. Now total runs is 58 into 48, 2784 runs. The highest score and the lowest score are differed by 160 runs. That is H minus L is 160 runs. Now total runs is, total runs of 50 innings is equal to total runs of 48 innings plus highest score and lowest score. Now H plus L is 216 and H minus L is 160. On solving these two equations, we will get highest score is 188 runs. H is 188. Last question. Four different electronic devices make a beep after every 25 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes, and 1 hour 40 minutes respectively. If they beep together at 12 noon, at what time they will beep together again? Now LCM of beep intervals is 25 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour 15 minutes is 75 minutes, 1 hour 40 minutes is 100. So we will get LCM as 5 hours or 300 minutes. So the electronic devices beep after 5 hours from the 12 noon, that is 5 p.m. So correct answer is option A.